day, everyone! Welcome to another episode of Quick Math Tutorial. Today, we are going to learn about probability of simple events and compound events. First, let's define what is probability. Based from Merriam-Webster, probability is the chance that something will happen. Also, it is a measure of how often a particular event will happen if something, such as tossing a coin, is done repeatedly. For example, you have a 50% chance or 50% probability of obtaining a head in tossing a coin. Next, let's have simple events. The examples of simple events are: first, consider rolling a die. In rolling a die, the possible outcomes are 1 dot, 2 dots, 3 dots, 4, 5, until 6 dots. So, getting a number 5 is called a simple event. Also, getting a number 1 is called a simple event. Next example is picking a random card in a deck of cards. There are 52 cards in a deck of cards. Therefore, getting an ace is called a simple event. Getting a spade is also called a simple event. Now, let's solve for the probability of simple events. Let's have our first example. What is the probability of obtaining a tail in tossing a coin? For this problem, we will use the formula probability of an event is equal to the number of ways that the event can occur divided by the number of possible outcomes. For this problem, our event here is obtaining a tail, which is equal to, let's first solve for the denominator. We will now identify the possible outcomes. Since in this problem, it talks about tossing a coin, therefore, the possible outcomes are head and tail. And for the numerator, since our event here is obtaining a tail, so we will have tail. Next is the probability of obtaining a tail, which is equal to, since the number of obtaining a tail can occur only once, therefore we will write 1. And in the denominator, the number of possible outcomes are 2 for the head and tail, so we will write 2. Therefore, our probability is equal to 1/2, or in percentage form, we have 50%. Therefore, you have a 50% probability of obtaining a tail in tossing a coin. Next example. A die is rolled once. Find the probability of obtaining first a 5, second an odd number. Let's first solve a 5. For this solution, we will use the same formula. And this problem, the event is obtaining a 5, which is equal to, in the denominator, since this problem talks about rolling a die, therefore, the possible outcomes are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And in the numerator, since our event here is obtaining a 5, so we will write 5. Next is the probability of obtaining a 5, which is equal to the number of ways in obtaining a 5 can occur only once. So therefore, we will write 1 divided by the number of possible outcomes are 6. So we have the probability which is equal to 1/6, or in a percentage form, it is equal to 17%. Therefore, you have a 17% probability in obtaining a 5 in rolling a die. Next is, we will solve for the probability in obtaining an odd number. Again, the same formula. So our event here is obtaining an odd number. In the denominator, we will write again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And in the numerator, since our event here is obtaining an odd number, so we will have 1, 3, 5. Next, the probability of obtaining an odd number, which is equal to the number of ways in obtaining an odd number can occur only thrice. So we will write 3. It is for 1, 3, and 5. So we will write here 3. Over the number of possible outcomes are 6. So 3 over 6, or in lowest term we have 1 over 2. Or in percentage form we have 50%. Therefore, you have 50% chance in obtaining an odd number in rolling a die. Last example. A box contains 3 red balls, 5 yellow balls, and 2 blue balls. If a ball is picked at a random from the box, what is the probability that the ball picked is first a yellow ball, next is a red ball? So let's first solve for the yellow ball. For this solution, again we will use the same formula. So our event here is picking a yellow ball, which is equal to, in the denominator, the possible outcomes are 3 red balls plus 5 yellow balls plus 2 blue balls. And in the numerator, since our event here is picking a yellow ball, so we will write 5 yellow balls. Next is the probability of obtaining a yellow ball, which is equal to, so in the denominator, we will add 3 plus 5 plus 2, so we will have 10. And in the numerator, the number of ways in picking a yellow ball can occur only 5, so we will have 5 over 10. Or in lowest term, we have 1/2, or which is equal to 50%. Therefore, you have a 50% chance in picking a yellow ball in this box. Last, our event here is picking a red ball. So again, the same denominator, we have 3 red balls plus 5 yellow balls plus 2 blue balls. And in the numerator, since our event here is picking a red ball, so we will write 3 red balls. Next, the probability of obtaining a red ball, which is equal to, so in the numerator we will have 3 over, again, find the sum, 3 plus 5 plus 2, which is equal to 10. So 3 over 10, or equal to 30%. Therefore, you have a 30% probability in picking a red ball in this box. Now let's have the compound events. Compound events consist of 2 or more simple events. Example: find the probability of getting a 6 and a 1 when 2 dice are rolled. Getting a 6 is a simple event, and getting a 1 is also a simple event. So we are given here 2 simple events. So now, let's find the probability of these compound events. Before we will use the formula, let's first list all the possible outcomes when 2 dice are rolled. So we have here 1 and 1, 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 1 and 4, until 6 and 6. And as you can see, since our events here are getting a 6 and a 1, and it only appears only twice. So here. Now let's use the formula. Our event here is getting a 6 and a 1, which is equal to, in the denominator, the possible outcomes are 1 and 1, 1 and 2, until 6 and 6. And in the numerator, since our event here is getting a 6 and a 1, so we will write 1, 6, and 6 and 1. Next, the probability of getting a 6 and a 1, which is equal to, so we will have 2 over 36. Since we have 36 possible outcomes, or in lowest term, we have 1 over 18. or which is equal to 6%. Therefore, you have only 6% in getting a 6 and a 1 when 2 dice are rolled. And that ends our quick math tutorial. If you like the video, please click on the like button. If you have questions, just leave a comment below. And to be notified on my new videos, don't forget to click on the subscribe button. Bye-bye!
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face. Tell me that you love me, even if it's fake.